Yes, welcome back indeed to my YouTube channel. And once again, it's Omoshalua's space, but don't be fooled, it's our space, okay? It's a space to discuss things that are for young adults and people like myself and everyone in general to relate and to have a space where we are conscious of one another and there's community with one another. So I'm going to be discussing something that I feel there is not enough voice projecting these issues at hand. Okay, today I'm just excited. So the very first video I'm going to talk about is the issue of Gen Z. I'm sorry guys. First, let me start with an apology. I am sorry guys, I just don't get it. Let me give you a definition of Gen Z from what I have gotten here. People usually connote this sort of thing with like Gen as like, oh, they're much more current. They were born in an era where technology was already prevalent, so they were afforded the opportunity, somewhat luxury, of having this electronic device. Technology was already the order of the day compared to the millennials or the boomers. So that's like an intro, background knowledge of what a Gen Z is. And well, myself included, I am a Gen Z. Okay, I was born in the year 2000 and something. I'm not gonna disclose that year. So at least not necessarily. But I don't think you can be so irresponsible, be so lackluster, ill-mannered, not be a very good person, and especially when you are still in you're in the very morning of your life. You're literally still a young adult. You're still in the daylight of your lifetime, let's say, and you just say, oh, that's because I'm Gen Z, and you think, oh, it's because you're and you say, oh, we are more forward thinking, we are born in technology. Do you guys get what I'm trying to say? I'm sorry if I seem incoherent, but like that's how much it triggers me and makes me like, I'm like, wait a minute, okay guys, wait a minute. If your parents, if your forefathers, if your generations before you did not decide to fill up that big boy pants and big girl pants and face reality that they are adults irrespective of the time they were born in, do you think you would exist? And do you think even if you did exist or do exist, would you be able to enjoy the privilege you have today? The privilege of technology itself that you guys are always claiming, oh, are forward thinking, we're this, we're that. You wouldn't have it if those people are not responsible enough to even make sure those things were invented. So yes, you have those things and then you just think you're like buses without brains, just doing whatever you want, claiming, oh, Gen Z. That's just one. The second one being the boss, like trying to be the boss babe, boss guy issue at a very young age, guys. I'm also guilty of this because everyone's trying to be successful. I'm not saying you should not be smart or business minded. I'm not saying you should not dive into businesses. I'm not saying you shouldn't save and not invest. You get what I'm trying to say. All those are good things to do, to put one's head into. At least they could make you much more responsible, right? But it's just the pressure to be successful, like overnight. I don't even get it. Some people are very successful. They seem to have it all at the early stage of their life. They seem to have their life organized. They seem to have done it all. Simply, they seem to have done it all. But guys, still, I'll maintain my stance. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to confuse you guys, but I'm really trying to make you see a point. I'm trying to convince you about something. Yeah, you can be very successful. It has been proven. That's a fact. It could be exerted anywhere. But you also do not have to be at that stage of your life. You don't have to be the richest. You don't have to be the most known. You don't have to be the most influential at that stage. All people develop differently. And some people, it's better for them to start the struggle, to know the value of life and success itself at a later stage of their life and not at the very forefront of their life. I mean, and some people have guidance, guys. They have mentors. They have people to guide them, chip them along the way, through their life journey. And that's why the success come at the right time. background, family privilege, generational wealth, those people are much more inclined to be very successful at a very young age. But the pressure is what is in between these two gaps, guys. The very successful at a younger age and people that tend to, struggle they become much more successful at a later stage in their life. Guys, everyone wants to be successful, but to look down on people, to pressurize them, to put all in the name of, I'm just trying to motivate, inspire and people and make them better people. You guys, that's BS if you ask me. That's nonsense. That's arrant nonsense if you ask me. I'm not saying it's not impossible. I am not saying it's wrong to be successful at a young age. What I am saying is wrong is the undue pressure. Putting it as inspiration, but you're just looking down on people. You're just trying to make them see what they cannot have instantly. Do you guys see what I'm trying to say? I don't know, I get headache when I talk on topics like this for far too long because I just don't comprehend why people do that. It's like people are forgetting just the simple virtue of not showing off your wealth. Inspire people very well, but do you know your attitude, your personality will talk more to people than showing off the Versace bag, Gucci, it's unnecessary. First off, what is situation? We're going to be looking at this from the side which is much more romantic, right? Romantic relationship. But I'm not going to romance at all because this is not even romance. I don't see situationship as romance because romance is something that is budding, it's sweet, it's lovely, and it can foster love and more affection between two people that share what they have in that relationship. When we talk about situationship, what comes to mind or what just speaks to me is that people do not want to be consistent. Consistency is not there. Two people don't want to be held accountable. People do not want to be committed to anything. That's the truth. That's what speaks to mind when I hear situationship. Why would you be in a situationship? Do you know the meaning of situation? I said, and let me now clarify what the situation is. If you ask me, there's some situation that just occur. Those are spontaneous situation, and there's some situation that are intentional. There's a situation that have been planned ahead. You have knowledge of that. Oh, this thing is going to occur during this time, space, period. But I do not think a situationship is spontaneous, and that's why I'm going to be focusing on the former, intentional situationship. If someone has decided by their own direction, by their own will, free, a mind free of any influence or any duress or coercion or whatever force, in their own intentional mind and direction, decided to be in a situationship with you, not a relationship. It just speaks for itself. Now, a Nigerian slang, right? That person will rate you. That's the truth. That's how it feels to me, you guys. But that's what speaks out to me. Even the spontaneous bullshit. Yeah. And we decided, we're not going to be committed. Maybe a one night stand, for example. That's what speaks out to me when I talk about spontaneous situationship. Your code, it's not because it's not planned ahead. There is no premeditation. You guys get what I'm saying, right? So even the spontaneous, I really do not like. I don't like it, and I don't confirm to such values, but I'm not judgmental about it. And to myself, I think it's a lesser of two evils. Someone is like it's in the spur of the moment, right? Even in the law, things like there's always defense over your code in spur of the moment. There's no premeditation, there's no planning ahead, so you can understand things like that. Like it's not justifiable, but it's understandable. That's what I do say. But the intentional one, like. You see the attributes. You say I'm a lovely person. You say I'm a nice person. You say we're all matched. Our values align. Religious values align. Whatever. We align physically too. Because definitely there's that attraction there. And you just, after all that, you just look at me. After everything, you evaluated that person, evaluated the situation between you guys. And just decided to say, let's just remain this way. Let's not put a label to it. Let's not solidify it. Let's not put it. Let's not substantiate it. Let's just let it remain this way. Let it be watching. Let it be flowing. Let it be oily. Let it be a situation. Guys, if you ask me, situationship, that is even worse than the spontaneous one. Okay? You decided, you guys are intentional. And you were like, maybe we change, or to get better, or maybe it will progress into something. That's a relationship. That's situationship, guys. Because a relationship, I can understand we're taking these things slow, but we'll have it in mind that we are this thing has to develop into something. We're not going to stay, we're not going to stagnate, we're not going to waste our time. But a relationship, those attributes, those features are not even present, and the person just tells you this is how it's going to be. And do you know the worst part? The baby mama culture, the things that are included in some of this situationship is the worst. The children, the fruit of those situationship, because I can't even label it a relationship, guys. It's so painful to see, and I just don't know what to say other than things have to change. That will take us to the next topic. Shame. I'm saying shame at itself, and this is going to be your assignment. Go and look up what shame is and what it's supposed to be, guys, in the ordinary team of things. I would call shame, and I'm going to come from like a more psychological and emotional stance when I'm going to be giving the definition of shame. If you ask me personally, I'll say shame is like an human emotion. So, and it's in a way it can be used interchangeably with embarrassment. Sometimes we're embarrassed, it's just this uneasy feeling, we're not comfortable, and that's because something, as a called that it's just not pleasant. Not everybody has shame any longer, and that's why I'm talking about shame. Okay, so depending on job, as I was saying, shame, right? The feeling of disgrace, embarrassment. Feeling so uncomfortable, as I earlier said. External factor which can cause shame, and the internal factor is as I mentioned earlier, maybe a situation someone find embarrassing or uncomfortable. Now maybe you have a running stomach, and you have to continually go ease yourself and all, and you just feel uncomfortable because you have to excuse yourself. It's just somewhat embarrassing. It's not disgraceful per se, depending on the setting, but it's quite shameful to some people. Like, I could have better composed myself, I could have better done this. Like, people are different, they react to things differently, they think about things differently. So I think that's why it's psychological to some extent, right? The way you evaluate things are different. So that's the internal one. But the external shame is the one, I'll align that one more with stigmatization. The shame that brings about looking down on somebody. For example, depending on where you live and community, locality, and all, divorce is seen as an issue that is very, very shameful. It brings about stigma, especially on the woman, especially if she chooses to leave that relationship, that setting that is just horrible, that is just unbearable, and the relationship, the marriage has broken that irretrievably. She has decided to pack her things for the sake of her health, her children, her welfare, and all. The way people stigmatize the woman, the way people shame the woman, such woman, it is very unfair. If you look at it, it's not well grounded. It's very unfair, because if a woman decided to leave a situation she finds not suiting anymore, I think, who are we to judge, who are we to blame her? So I think that's another area of shame, that external kind of shame, rather, that it's not very nice as stigmatization, right? So that's why I say it's like you have to wait. You have to weigh things. That's the life. You always have to weigh things. Everything is not just black and white at times. There's always a gray area in some things. So that's what I'm talking about, shame. In the sense that shame generally isn't necessary for growth. I think people don't have shame anymore. People do not have shame anymore. Aside for the sessions of all people that are going through divorce, or people that have been assaulted, I don't feel they should have shame. If a person has committed such acts against them, this person should be shamed. So that there's no need for shame. But people, aside that, people don't have shame anymore. I don't know. I think it depends on the environment. Sometimes depends on the person, depends on how you were raised, and people just excuse overconfidence for not having shame. I just don't know. They just find a way to put things to just bring about a new meaning. It's just incomprehensible, guys. Shame is necessary for growth. I think sometimes it helps you to evaluate yourself, to criticize yourself, self-criticism, to think about things from a dimension that, what I did is wrong, I can do better, and from right. There's just something like this belief that children should be like cautioned and when necessary shamed, especially when they've done something bad like stealing. If you do not shame that child, they will grow up to believe, I was not punished, I was not even shamed, I was not criticized for doing this when I was much younger. Now that I'm much older, that I have the free reins on, like, to live my life the way I want, who is really going to criticize me? So I think that's a problem. If you're not well taught from the early stages of your life that shame is necessary, this thing is not good, it's a shameful act, so don't do it. I feel that growth was not even instilled from the early beginning. So now that person growing up to just adopt or imbibe that attitude of knowing when things are disgraceful or shameful might not be there any longer. All in all, I just think shame is necessary. I hope with all my babblings, you guys have been able to pick one or two things to understand what I'm talking about in shame in the context of everything. So now, and I've just seen that these are issues that we have to navigate, especially being a young adult. And I feel there should be more voices to really discuss these topics, and especially I think for young adults, we feel like we're growing up, we're getting smarter. We don't like when older people just talk to us all the time, like always criticize us, always do this and act as if they are better. And of course, they're well experienced. They live this life we're living right now. But I think it's also nicer when we have a community where we discuss this thing among ourselves, and that's why I'm using my platform to just discuss things that I feel should be discussed. I mean, they are necessary, and I feel we have a better society, have a better community at large, a global village at large. We are able to discuss these things together without any inhibition or prohibition. Because why not? We should say these things to one another. And I hope, like, with all my ramblings today, you guys have been able to get one or two things to really like see what I intend to bring to the table this platform, and that's at Tomashala Space at YouTube. So guys, thank you for tuning in. Tomashala here, and hope to see you on the next one. Bye.